On today's episode of the Warne's Way podcast, I am joined by one of the most recognisable and successful radio hosts in Australian history ever. He was once known as the Chief Hydration Officer at the Melbourne Stars.
Yes, that was the pinnacle.
That was the pinnacle. A very successful business over in New York with Old Mate's Pub. But more importantly, he's Carlton's number one fan. Welcome to the show, Mr. Andy Lee.
Nice to be here. Do we tell people where we are?
You can tell people where we are, yep.
Like, I love this man cave that your dad had.
Yeah.
That you've transferred into a pod studio.
Yeah.
I got invited to a few poker nights here.
Yep.
But I went to one poker night and they all took my money because I'm not very good at it. So I kind of avoided those.
Yeah, at one of Dad's poker nights.
Yeah.
Do you remember what year it would have been?
I reckon it was at the house in Sandringham. So I don't know what year it would have been.
In Sandy.
Could it be like a 2014 or something?
Yeah, 2014 he would have been maybe just off Beach Road in Canaan Street.
That's right.
Yeah, Canaan Street, just near the Esplanade. But he sort of, when he moved to Brighton, he just never really left the bubble.
Yep.
That's what we used to call the Brighton bubble, because he just loved it. All of his houses, there would be me, Brooke and Summer, and then to the left or to the right was Brighton, Grammar or Furbank. So we're always walking distance to our schools. We've still got lifts, but I think that's what he was more importantly about.
Yeah, well, that's nice. Hamish and I broadcast from a blimp once.
Yeah.
Like, did the whole show live to Australia from a blimp.
Yeah.
And we went and hovered it above your dad's house just to see he was in the pool and
Oh,
naked or
did
something.
you?
But no, he wasn't home.
Were you able to see the 23 from the blimp?
Yep,
You were?
absolutely, yeah. I was
That's
texting going, where are you, mate? Didn't hear. Then overnight, he's like, I'm overseas. Like, oh, okay, yeah.
That's so impressive, because me and Kai still sometimes go on realestate.com and online, and some of the photos, because they don't get updated all the time, are actually, you can still see the 23 in the pool.
Yes.
So,
Well, that particular house. When did you guys have that house?
Canaan Street was a bit, the big house that Sammy Newman and stuff filmed a walkthrough for the footy show was 2009 to about 13 when he was dating Elizabeth.
Yeah, because I think I remember coming round to your place, I'm going to say 2008 or 2009.
Yep.
And to watch the Allen Border Medal with your dad.
Yeah.
And you were there.
Yeah.
I remember Brooke being, I think Brooke would have probably been like 16 maybe.
Yeah.
Because she was allowed to have a drink with us.
Yeah.
And then you and Summer, yeah, not so much.
Yeah.
But it was amazing to see you guys all grow up.
Yeah.
Now. But yeah, it was a surreal night to go and with my favourite cricketer of all time, then to go and watch the AB medal with him.
That's so cool. So he's your favourite of all time?
Absolutely.
Wow. And I know I could be getting this wrong, but I'm pretty sure how the Allen Border Medal started in the late, or 2000, I think was the very first year, or 2001. I could be getting this wrong, but I think I'm right. It was actually Dad's idea to start the Allen Border Medal, and he approached Cricket Australia with the idea because he said the AFL have the Brownlow.
Yep.
The cricket doesn't have anything. Allen Border is probably 90% of Australian sportsmen's first ever hero.
Yes.
How about we have an awards night in honour of him, and it's the best cricketer of the year. Call it the Allen Border Medal.
Amazing.
Pretty
Your
cool.
dad loved ideas, throwing ideas around him.
Yeah, he did.
A lot of them were good though.
A lot of them were good, and he was never somebody that quit after if one failed. You know,
No.
obviously when he retired, he had the 99 not out beer,
Yep.
spinners undies, got into poker and golf,
Yep.
golf gear, like got into everything, but never gave up.
Yep.
But enough about Dad. We'll talk about him soon.
Yes.
Very first thing I'd love to talk to you about, growing up and your childhood and everything, was radio or comedy anything that you sort of...
I didn't think it was until my dad reminded me that I used to do my own radio shows. Back, you're too young to know this stuff, but you used to be able to tape things off the radio.
Yeah.
So you'd have a cassette player and then they'd play radio and you could press record and record your songs like off the radio. I would do that, but then I would be the radio announcer at like 6 years old in between it.
Wow.
And then I'd play back the radio songs that I'd been recording.
Yeah.
I remember one of the very first ones being Marvellous by Billy Birmingham, which was Richie Benno singing Marvellous, which is a cricket song, yeah.
Do you still have those cassette tapes and devices somewhere at home? No, not anymore.
No, not anymore. So it must have been in there, but we had a really lucky upbringing, but pretty humble. My mum and dad are both primary school teachers.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you go to school where they were teachers?
yes.
Yes, nice.
So there was a point where all five of us, I got an older brother, younger sister, all five of us went to the same school. My mum and dad both taught there.
Wow.
We had a camper van was our family car because we go camping in it as well.
Yeah.
And there was a point where all 5 of us drove to the same school to be taught. And it was on Red Nose Day. So you had 5 dorks, all with a red nose.
Wow. Surely at that school now there's like Lee's hallway or Lee's classroom. There's some Lee's scattered
No,
somewhere.
I don't think so. They should be. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably more than I know with my dad. He taught there for a long time.
Wow. So always radio and going to school with the family, that environment of just funny laughter, that was always something you were around.
Yep. Absolutely. My dad was he taught preps and grade 1s.
Yeah.
And loved dress ups and different style of teaching.
Yeah.
And, he'd make the classroom spies for the day. And if another class went out to PE, he'd go and steal all their furniture and leave ransom notes on their chalkboards and stuff. So I think the mischief kind of came from his side. He was just performing in front of 6-year-olds, and I decided to make it a bit more broader and perform to a few more people.
So you could almost say you've got it from your dad.
I reckon. Yeah. I mean, my mum would argue that he's got a terrible sense of humour and he's got dad jokes, but that's all dads.
Yeah. Well, I still get Kai knocks me a little bit because of my jokes. I think I'm very funny. I think I'm hilarious.
Yes.
But Kai and my friends constantly remind me that I'm actually not that funny, and all of my jokes are just dad jokes. But I find them they're good.
Did you find your dad funny?
I did, but he would also say Dad thought he was also one of the funniest people whenever he walked into a room.
Yes.
But I'd like to call it a little bit of charisma. He was able to adapt to the situation or the person he was talking to and always try and find positive and something funny out of it.
Yeah. And also up for a laugh, which you are as well. I think that's part of being funny is just enjoying fun. Hamish knows to talk about this a lot with our career. It's like we didn't set out to be funny. We more set out to have fun. And find environments that are silly, and then the kind of funny comes.
And I feel as well that's just you being yourself 120% of the time. And what Dad always used to say is never try and be someone you're not, and also show humility. Because if you're somebody that can take a joke and be vulnerable and people can laugh at you and you're still fine, that takes a lot of courage and it's strong.
It takes time though. Do you reckon your dad felt like that all the time?
No, definitely not. In the early 90s and everything like that, when he used to get picked on about his weight and all that sort of stuff and the earrings and the hair, he was just being himself. He was flamboyant, and I'd like to think he was trying to be like Dermy Brereton because that was his first sort of sporting hero in the AFL world. But, I think as he got older, you're right, it does take a little bit of time, and he was somebody that had very, very, very thick skin.
Yep.
And I feel like ever since he was 20 years old, there was always negative articles, invasion of his privacy, but he always came out the other end stronger. And I think in a weird way, that's why me, Brooke and Summer, or especially me, are quite strong now, because we saw Dad go through so much and be okay. Well, I've sort of seen Dad go through that. Now, if I'm going through it, I should also be okay.
I know this is more meant to be about me, but I'm interested to ask.
Yeah, I feel bad. I've been doing a lot of talking about me.
A couple of questions about you then.
Yeah.
When your dad's going through those hard ones, and some are controversial, can you remember how that was affecting you guys and the three of you? And as the 3 kids, did you all see the same view, or did sometimes you differ?
Yeah, I think me, Brooke, and Summer are all very similar, but Brooke, because she's about 2 years older than me, her memory's a lot more vivid. So going through the early 2000s, a bit later, she's sometimes a little bit more angrier about some of the articles and stuff like that.
Yep.
I'm a bit more at peace with it, and Summer's a bit more not sure what actually happened.
Yep.
But yeah, even going through now, if you got my dad and you cut him in half, you've got me and Brooke, and you can combine us and you get Dad. But no, for me, it was always just after school and going to 7-Eleven, trying to get a Magnum or something, and in the magazines, Dad's front page with a girl, or being caught smoking again when he's not supposed to, or all those stuff. But I never, when I'd go home, my dad is still Dad.
Yep.
So he was still the person that wanted to eat pizza or play poker or watch sport. He was not somebody that saw something and then go, He never let it affect him.
Well,
are you the same, or are you the
opposite? You'll like
this
story. So Hamish and I, it must have been 2006 maybe. Did Simone and Shane, they were split at 2006?
Yeah, that's when they got divorced.
That's right, yeah.
2006, 7.
So we went to this Commonwealth Games function, right? And your mum was doing Dance with the Stars, I think.
Yes, that was when she came down on the moon, and she said it was one of her most embarrassing moments. But me, Brooke, and Summer were very proud. We remember going there and watching her train a few times. And our mum's, she's great.
So on the way out of this function, your mum was arriving, and we were on the way out, Hamish and I. And the photographer asked to get a photo of the three of us, which we did.
Yeah.
Right. And then Haim, being Haim, did a pose across your mum like he was like a tango dancer because of Dance with the Stars.
Yeah.
Right. And then one of the glossy magazines, this is where the tangent comes from you seeing your dad on the front. One of the glossy magazines put it on the front page and said, Simone's flirty night out, cut me out of it, and just had Haim like kind of, wrapping himself around her, insinuating that it wasn't like a staged photo for Dance with the Stars.
Yeah.
But it was a fact that, they'd had a night out. Haim loved Shane as well. And Haim rings me and goes, this is not what happened. And I was like, yeah, I know this is not what happened.
Yeah.
He goes, what do you think Warnie's going to say? I said, Warnie will be fine about it.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
But yeah, because he knows how often things get taken out of context.
Yeah, and I think as well, like that happened all the time with mum and dad, that they just sort of, not were numb, but just got really strong to it.
Yeah.
And I think unless it was actually affecting me, Brooke or Summer, it didn't affect them. Yep. So as long as we were coming home from school and, that dad and mum would explain themselves in a minute, 2 minutes, we go, that's fine, move on. It was fine to them.
Yeah.
But it was only till dad got a little bit older that the paparazzi just completely invaded his privacy.
Yeah.
And just even in countries where, like in Spain or America, where they don't actually play cricket, me, Brooke and Summer used to be given games, all right, whoever can spot the photographer first gets some Lego or gets an ice cream or something. And I'm sorry if I've been repeating myself, like I've told this a few times, but it's true.
Yeah, it's no good.
Yeah.
Well, but I hadn't really established friendship with Warnie during that time, 2006.
Yeah. So
Haim and I were both a bit nervous about that article.
Yeah, so you never confronted him and gave
No, we
an
did. We asked him
explanation
about it. He was on the radio show because the thing about your old man was whenever we had something fun that we thought we could include him, we'd just contact him and say, hey, do you want to pop in? And if he was available, he loved it because he just loved to laugh.
Yeah.
And so we got to know each other through the radio show a little bit. But he came in and we had to explain that we didn't have a flirty night out.
So that was when you first met Dad. It was actually giving an explanation of that article.
Yeah, through the radio show. But yeah, it might have been actually one of the first times we met.
That's a good first impression. Why has Hamish got a photo with my ex?
I think we were doing something on the radio. I can't remember what, and he came in and gave us catching practice, and I think that was the time that we had to go. And by the way, just about this.
Sorry. It's been misinterpreted. We apologise. There's nothing in it.
Yeah,
we're both,
but he didn't mind at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so radio, as soon as you finished school, was that the first thing you just went straight into? Yep.
No, I was planning on being an accountant.
Okay. Well, so was Dad.
Really?
When he finished school, he was studying to be an accountant and was an accountant, and then was delivering mattresses for 40 winks and selling jewellery at a jewellery shop. That was his first.
He was bloody good with numbers.
Yeah, well,
I mean, with the poker and with the way he could judge a game of cricket. Like like even when we were playing golf together, he loved the scoring.
Yeah.
And he can understand if we're betting and it's a press and another press and all these things and the maths. He could have been a good accountant.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be an accountant. I went and worked at the Good Guys electrical company.
Yep.
And I was doing the accounts for them over my summer break from school to uni, and then during that little work experience time, I cancelled $80 million worth of checks instead of presenting them.
No.
And so none of the suppliers got paid.
Oh, my God. Are you still in debt and having to pay it back now?
Well, back then, they wouldn't reset their computer systems every day or be able to recover files. Yeah. They reset it on a Sunday. And they found out what I was doing on a Wednesday. I wasn't doing it deliberately. I got taught incorrectly. It was just like press C or press P. I should have said present the check. I was hitting C.
Cancel.
But I was very efficient, so I was just going through all these bills to pay.
Wow.
Data entry, C. Data entry, C. 2.5 days of that.
Yeah.
And then they discovered, so they reset the system and everyone in the whole company had to redo their work from Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday because that's where they reset back to.
And so you cost them $80 million in 2.5 days.
Well, I didn't cost them any money. It cost them that work.
Yeah, it cost them that work.
And at that point I was so embarrassed and I quit.
Yeah.
And went straight to uni and changed my subjects.
Yeah, okay.
To marketing and product and brands and that kind of stuff because I realized that you don't need to know about numbers. You just need to be able to bullshit people pretty much.
And have you got a relationship with people from the Good Guys now, or have you ever shouted them out on one of your shows or radios?
I actually still feel like I should shop there.
Yeah.
Like weirdly, to make up for it, I still find that if, the most recent purchase was an iron, and I was like, I want to go get an iron. And so I went into the Good Guys to get it.
That is so good. Now, one thing I'd love to ask with you and Hamish, my favorite bit of content from you guys when you're on tour and you're doing all of your pieces is Operation Dry Tank.
Oh, yes.
Do you remember Operation Dry Tank?
Yeah.
You do?
It stems from whenever I'm driving along in my car, and the more modern cars now say you've got 15 kilometres left, you've got 10 kilometres left as the petrol runs down. I used to hit to zero, and I used to wonder how far could I go with it on zero. So Haim and I, we thought it'd be like 15 kilometres, 20 kilometres. So we left the radio station, and we were meant to be back on air at 4. We probably left at around about 2. And the idea was, let's run it down to zero and just see how far it could get.
Yeah.
I think it got like 114 kilometres or something.
Yeah. You drove for over an hour.
Yeah, we nearly didn't make it back in time to do the actual radio show.
Wow, yeah, no, because I was rewatching it again this morning because I've got so many, like when you guys used to do your sumo wrestling, dry tank, I've got so many vivid memories, just like a lot of Australian teenagers and kids do. But that one just stands out to me because me and Dad loved driving.
Yep.
So, seeing that Operation Dry Tank, and I was a bit like you, when it gets to zero, you probably think 15, 20 Ks, and you drove for over an hour.
Yep.
And I think the exact was 119 Ks.
There you go.
But you all thought you'd get around 10, 15, 20 Ks in every 25 Ks, 50 Ks, 75 Ks, 100 Ks.
I should declare this. A diesel tank will go a lot longer than petrol. I think they run the petrol down to 25. I've since learned this from the car manufacturer because they're like, you don't give everyone the confidence to keep doing this. The other thing is, the reason why they give it such a long thing for the diesel tanks is because it ruins the car.
Ah.
And it ruined my car.
So that was your car you did it in?
I did it in my
Audi.
car, and it was an expensive experiment.
Yeah.
But it's because I think the junk or muck at the bottom of a petrol tank that we're with diesel, once that gets sucked up into the engine, harder to clean out.
Yeah, okay. And diesel's obviously a lot thicker than just normal petrol, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow. I did you ever drive around with Dad?
Yep.
You did?
Yeah.
Do you remember any of those experiences?
Yeah. Your dad liked going fast.
Yeah.
Loved going fast. He also didn't mind an aggressive takeoff.
Yeah. How quickly you can get to 200 or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you experienced that, whether you're safety with the kids in the car.
Yep. No, I've said so many times in interviews, like when they go, if you could bring back, or like, what's one thing you miss most about your dad?
Yeah.
I say, look, it might sound really silly or weird to you guys, but I genuinely miss driving. Yeah. Because driving to Dad, he just lived on different rules. You know, he wasn't going to let a piece of metal with a paint tell him how fast he can go. And he was actually a very good and capable driver.
Very good driver.
Like, very good driver.
I never felt unsafe with him.
Yeah, neither did I. And he did all of the driving courses. He did the beginner, intermediate, advanced. I'm pretty sure he did the police driving course as well. Like, used to race cars on tracks. Like,
did he ever do the Celebrity Grand Prix?
Maybe, but I know he did Top Gear.
Of course.
He did Top Gear a few times with Jeremy Clarkson when that was the OG crew.
Yeah.
I loved that. But, yeah, I always felt safe.
Yeah, I felt safe. He loved his cars.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, did love going fast. And he also, in golf, he also always wanted to drive.
He was always driving the buggies.
Yeah. I think it's also because that was easier to score. Like, he had this.
There's already with the pencil and scorecard.
Yeah.
That's so impressive. Do you have one standout memory playing with golf with him?
I played a lot of rounds of golf.
Was it always with Sammy? You too, Sammy?
Yeah, Sammy Newman and Grant Thomas, time to time. His friend Dimmy, Aaron Hamill. But yeah, Dimmy. Yeah, what I loved about playing with Shane was the competitiveness.
Yeah.
Like, we would have some kind of match going, and whether you were teamed with him or teamed against him, it was a very different experience on the day. Because if you're teamed with him, you felt like you could do it all. Because your dad just had confidence. Yeah. I could imagine. I mean, we're just talking about a social golf game, but I can imagine the confidence he gave other players in his team. I saw it when I was at the Stars. But if we're down our luck, he'd be able to come across and go, "No, all we have to do is this and this, and we're back in it," you know. And I've mentioned this to you before that he just had great mind games.
Yeah,
he could start chirping at you and little ways to kind of put you off, which not anything that, you know, not in your backswing or anything that would, like, you know, bring the game into disrepute. But just on the way down the fairway, little different things that he could niggle you with.
And that was his edge. He loved the psychology part of sport, and not just cricket. You'd like you've just explained, on the golf course. Yeah. He always did it on the poker table too. He just loved trying to get into people's heads, and I think that's why he was so good at everything he went into, because he just could. It's like he could enter your mind. Yeah, and he knew exactly what you're thinking at that exact time.
His favourite thing to say, I'm not sure if he ever said this to you while playing, but is dead sheep. Have you heard that one before?
No, I never got the chance to play golf with Dad because I used to always be his caddy.
Yep.
And by no means did I have any qualifications or experience to recommend what club to use, what way the greens are rolling, how many meters or yardage the binocular thing's saying. But at the start of 2022, I actually got a few lessons, but never got the chance to play with him. Oh. So I'm hoping to get the golf bug back.
Yeah. Well, his favourite thing to say, was dead sheep, which was when you're putting in golf, for those who are listening who don't play golf, the person furthest away from the hole putts first.
Yeah.
Right. And if you hit such a bad, say if he was close and you were far away and you in your first putt, you were still further away than him.
Yeah.
He'd say dead sheep, which was a still you, as in like.
So hit it again.
So hit it again. So like a dead sheep would be a still you, you another name for sheep. So he'd go dead sheep. So it means still you have to go again.
Yeah. And that would just absolutely wreck your confidence because you've done like maybe a decent putt. You think, okay, I'll pick up my ball, and he's like, dead sheep, go again. Yeah. Wow. See, he's just always trying to play little mind games. Now the Stars, when you were Chief Hydration Officer, do you remember the very early years of when that started? Because you were going to be playing, weren't you?
Yeah.
You were on the list.
It was, and it's all thanks to Warne. Why I got to be a part of all of that. So I'm truly like indebted to him for that experience because I loved it being cricket nuffy. So he called me, said this Big Bash league's going to be pretty cool, I reckon. And he had a lot of responsibility for the Big Bash. I think a lot of people don't realise how much they hung a lot of the marketing and the start of this whole new franchise of cricket off the back of him and others, but really a focus, first person to be mic'd up while bowling. And so,
retired at 5 years, captain, playing at 42, 43 years old.
Exactly. Coming back after 5 years to play again. I think I certainly underestimated that until a few years in with the Stars, how much pressure that is on one singular person. Yeah. And also you kind of, some would argue you're risking a legacy to come back and
for sure
and play because, you know, so good, can you still do it? That ball when he was commentating and said exactly what he was going to do and got it, I think that changed the way we viewed sport and particularly cricket here forever. Like that was where you realise, oh my God.
And that was just as social media was starting, because you're talking about the Baz McCullum clip when he said, I'm going to slide it in there fast, and does exactly that. And Dad used to tell me that was like just as social media was starting, 2012, 2011, and it was sort of the first clip that went viral. So that went past Australia and went to the UK and all the other places where they play cricket, in India, even places in America. They're like, what's going on here? What's this sport? Yeah. So, I know Dad, and you talk about pressure and responsibility, he was actually somebody that loved it.
Yeah,
he loved it. And at all of his teams growing up, and even apart from Australia where he was captain, he loved that responsibility. Yep. Because like he said as well, when you were around him, you just felt like you could do anything. Exactly like his teammates. When you knew you had Shane on your team or you had Dad on your team, you just stood a little bit taller, you felt a little bit more confident. Yep. And that was just the energy he was able to give. So I was lucky that when I spoke to Maxi on this podcast, he said when he got to play with Dad in his second year, it was one of the coolest experiences ever, and still holds on to all of those memories.
Yeah. So it would have been heading in 2011, was it? The first one?
Yeah. So he retired in 07 and played 8, 9, 10. Yeah, it was either 2011 or 12. I think it was.
Actually, could be 11 to 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, he called and said that they think they might have celebrities playing, do you want to play?
Yeah.
And I was like, that'd be great. We're not sure if you'll get on the field, but come and train with us and so on.
So you went to the nets and everything with the Stars?
Yeah, and then did the summer of training in the lead up.
Wow.
But it got serious really quickly.
Yeah.
Because everyone was playing, like, people watching it, they thought they were going to need more tricks, but the cricket was so good.
Yeah. And when you mean tricks like fireworks, music, gimmicks.
They thought, you know, like when you're trying to launch a new thing, entertainment. Yeah. So I remember the opening, the opening night for the players all meeting up was at 23, Club 33. And that's where I met Bobby Quiney for the first time.
Nice.
And we had the Stars were the Stars. Eddie Maguire was so keen on making Stars. We had to have the celebrities. I had to have Warnie. But George Bailey was in there, Cam White, Matty Wade, I think, Adam Voges. Like, this team was John Hastings.
Dave Hussey.
Yeah. This team was pretty extraordinary.
It's the Stars.
Yeah, it's the Stars.
Yeah.
And so we're all having drinks at 23 and kind of about to learn what this team was going to be and what it could do. But I had known Shane for a bit before that. So a bunch of the younger players were nervous because he's the king.
Yeah.
And I had quite a different relationship because, I loved him as a fan.
Yeah.
But didn't have that same feeling of like, oh my gosh, I'm playing
God,
with the king there. So that was really an exciting time. Your dad used to always try and get me on the field. He used to let's get Andy on. He loved the entertainment side of things. I think he saw that in everything. Sport needs those moments.
Yeah.
So he'd try and get me onto field, etc. Often he wanted to run off for a ciggy, so he'd really try and get me to field.
Yeah. And
but it kind of as of year 2, where your dad became captain in year 2.
Yeah.
Those dreams for me getting on the field were gone, and I became just the water boy.
Yeah, and Dad used to explain it all the time where even though he was playing for the Stars and representing Melbourne and the Big Bash, he just loved playing cricket.
Yep.
That was his first, well, I don't want to say it was his first love because his first love was AFL.
Yep.
And he always explained that cricket found him, but he just felt really at home playing at the Stars and representing Victoria. And a lot of the people that I've spoken to that played in that team or since then just have so much love and respect for Dad. But it's funny you mentioned the smoking because, that's who he was. He wasn't going to stop smoking just because he was playing cricket or a professional athlete. And whenever he sort of got labelled an athlete, he'd always go, Jacko, I'm an elite athlete, not an athlete. I'm an elite athlete. I'm an elite athlete, Jacko, not an athlete. And
well, he was also elite at the after party as well.
Yeah.
I remember one game, and you can cut this out if you don't want it in there, but we'd finished up. The coach was wondering, I think we're having a quick briefing before we headed out, because we used to go out after most matches.
Yeah.
And we couldn't find Warnie.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, don't worry, I'll find him. So I've gone to the bathroom to see if he's there. And he's there completely covered in nair.
This is the greatest, and sorry to cut you off, this is the greatest thing ever because I can't remember who I was talking to. Kai, do you remember who I was talking to? I was talking to somebody else in this podcast. It might have been Maxine. I offered him if he wanted any Veet because he's got hairy arms.
Yes.
We were joking, laughing, whatever. But there was times when me and Dad would have Veeting sessions together, and no one believes me. No one believes me that me and Dad used to Veet together because they're like, you weren't there. And I'd be saying, no. I would walk into Dad's bathroom and be like, Jacko, come have a look at this. And he'd be standing there like this, covered in Veet all over.
So it was Veet, was it? Yeah, I don't even know the product.
It's hair removal cream.
Yeah. So he basically looks completely white, like a snowman from here down, and he's completely nude.
Yeah.
And I go, what are you doing? And he goes, what do you mean we're going out? And I was like, the team.
We're waiting for you.
We're having a team meeting. He's like, should I come in like this? I'm like, I know you would do that, but no. I'll tell him that you're going to be moments away. So he'd even take his personal grooming all the way to the MCG change room lockers as well.
And if that isn't enough context for everybody watching and listening, that the version that I got to grow up with was the exact same version he showed his friends and family.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, because I'm just glad as well that a lot more people since Dad's passing are starting to see these sides because more people are sharing these stories.
Oh, gosh. It was that funny. We had some great times on the field, some great times off. There was another time where we bailed out of the semi-final in Perth, which was a devastating one. I think it could have even been. It was either one year before or the year that we bowled a no ball on the last ball because we had too many people outside the ring.
Okay.
And your dad was captain. This is actually an interesting time for your dad. Dad
Is this at a Stars game?
Stars game.
Yep.
Semi-final, Perth. They need, I think, 3 to win off the last ball.
Wow.
Perth do.
Yeah.
I think it's Jimmy Faulkner bowling. Whoever's batting for the Scorchers misses it. We all run on the ground. We think we've won it. No ball. There are too many players outside the circle. So fielding restrictions, I think we might have had 6 out, not 5, whatever it was.
So is that 1 run and bowl again?
Yep. And then he hits it back over the head and we lose.
Oh, no.
Your dad wears it really heavy. He's the captain.
Yeah. And he's probably thinking this is the last time I'm going to be playing professional cricket.
He's like, it's my job to work
to
out where the
organise the field.
And somehow we've ended up with a really bad clerical error, which loses us the game. We don't make the final. And the Stars have never even won a final.
No.
So there's that part of you where you're like, oh my God, who was outside the circle? Who was where they told them not to be?
Mm.
And your dad came up to me and he's devastated, but a huge amount of mixed emotions as to, I want to blame someone, but it is my fault.
Yeah.
It's that strange thing where, everyone just was quiet and we went and sat for a little bit and he's like, I think this player was here and I told them to do that. And I was like, yeah, I know. And he's like, what should I do?
Mm.
And I said, it's the result now. Like, they're not going to change it. Probably best is to go in and say,
unlucky.
Mm. And he was good like that, to be able to just collect himself. Obviously, passionate guys, but then knew what to do at the other side of it. But
And he would have been the first person to put his hand up and say, sorry, boys, I've made a mistake. This is my fault. Because he'd always had so much accountability, so much integrity, and he always wanted the best for the team. And so if it was his fault for something, he would have said, look, guys, I'm sorry, but how can we get better? What can we do next time?
Yeah. So it was a tough old one. But we went out. I think it might have been this night. It was another loss in Perth, but we had too many drinks in the change room, and then no one could drive the bus home. We like the bus driver had left or something. And my mate from America goes,
I can drive.
And he's driving a bus, like a kind of just slightly bigger than a minibus.
Yeah.
But he's on the wrong side of the road. Never been on the And we go head into this nightclub, and Warnie's in the front seat, and Warnie's the only one he knew because he'd done some Googling.
Yeah.
But we're sitting there. The IPL was big at the time. We had so many great players. We've got like $15 million worth of players in this bus.
Yeah.
and my mate drives to the nightclub. There is a parking spot right at the front.
Yeah.
And he attempts to reverse park a bus with everybody in it in the tightest park ever.
Yeah.
And he's putting it back in. George Bailey's in the boot and somehow pulls it off. And your dad is giving him high fives. George Bailey's in the back going, he's doing it.
Yeah.
He's really doing it. And whole crowd in front of the nightclub's just yelling.
Clapping. What a story. That's so funny. You talk about being a cricket nuffy.
Mm.
Do you remember going on tour with Australia? Because you used to go on tour with them, didn't you? Over in England. And
I've gone across and watched them in England, in the West Indies.
Yeah.
Never got to see your dad. When did he finish from?
He retired from Test 06-07, but I remember talking to you once in England when he was commentating, when he used to commentate for Nine.
That's right. Yeah. So I still love following. There's nothing better.
Yeah.
The anticipation.
Yeah.
The meeting of friends. I love how long it goes.
Yes.
I love that you sit and you can really
Settle
up.
in
And friends can come in from all over the world.
Yeah.
Do that. So, first ball of Birmingham 4 or 5 years ago when Smithy had just come back from the ban after Sandpaper Gate, first game back.
Yeah.
That was probably the most memorable away test I've ever seen. For him to hit a ton and then a ton in the second innings as well, with the English crowd just laying into them for being cheats and all that kind of stuff. What did you be interested? Did you ever talk to your dad about Sandpaper?
Yeah, a little bit. I didn't really speak to him much about it, to be honest with you. My whole life, I never really spoke to Dad about cricket at all. And I've actually probably watched more footage of him playing cricket and talking about cricket in the last 3-4 years than I have in my entire life.
Wow.
And there is so much footage or questions that I'd love to actually talk to him about.
Yeah.
Like my favourite moment is when Dad was calming down the crowd.
Yep.
I never got to really speak to him about it, but it's now watching all the footage back that, could you imagine, you know, going out there in your thongs and asking Bay 13 to stop being quiet?
But he could do anything.
But he could do anything.
Yeah.
And so there's so many of those moments I'd love to talk to him about. But yeah, no, Sandpaper Gate, any of that stuff, I genuinely never spoke to Dad about cricket.
Yep.
I don't know. To him, it was always, how are the Saints going? AFL.
Yep.
You want to play poker? Who's free for golf? I'm commentating for Sky. I'm doing all this IPL.
Yep.
But yeah, never really spoke to him about cricket.
Because he loved cricket. I mean, obviously, second love, he loved footy and loved poker.
Yeah.
But I always wondered how many people he'd be texting because we'd be watching the game and he'd flick me text going, you know, can't believe they're bowling this guy, or hey, this is interesting field, and I'd be watching, and I'd text back, and vice versa. I'd go, hey, interesting part of the game. I was just looking through before coming in here. Still have his number in my phone, and I was just looking through our old text messages, and kind of 60% of them is just like, cricket. Hey, what do you think of this player? What are they doing here? And just the back and forth.
Yeah.
And so I used to came around a couple of times to watch cricket at your place.
Yep.
In the old cinema room with the gold class
the
seats.
Yeah.
Yeah, your dad loved telling me that they were official gold class seats, whether they were or not. But so to watch cricket on the big screen, whether it was like a overseas World Cup or something. But you know, as far as it's like director's commentary. It's like, you know, if it's like watching like Batman with Christopher Nolan next to you, telling you what's going to go down and how they did it. And that's what I loved and feel like I pinched myself with Warnie, because to be invited around and to watch games and just have a conversation about it and muck around and tell jokes, but to hear what his thoughts were, because he's one of the best commentators as well.
He is, and I find it quite fascinating because I didn't really talk to him much about his career with cricket. We used to watch quite a lot together. I'd always be coming home quite late and I could just smell smoke coming from his room, and he'd be in bed watching the cricket from some random country because it'd be playing at their time. And I'd just sit and watch him. And the way he was able to break down the bowlers, the batsmen, why the fielding's doing this, what's about to happen, I reckon 99.9% of his predictions always came true.
And he loved it when he got a prediction.
He loved it when he got a prediction. I'm always still finding when Travis Head has a good innings, and all the players now, people are bringing up Dad's tweets from 2016 or 2018, and they're going, this person's going to be a future of Australian cricket in all formats, blah, 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 and it's a photo of Travis Head. So, yeah, he was always watching cricket, always analysing. He loved Twitter, always tweeting out his thoughts. Used to love American Pie. He always wanted to meet Stifler. Have you seen American Pie and Stifler? He always wanted to meet Stifler. That's something I don't think he ever got to do. But yeah, he just loved American Pie, loved Stifler. But like what you were saying when you were watching cricket with him, he was like that with every sport. So tennis, AFL, golf. He could always just read players, what they're about to do, and predict.
Pretty good tennis player.
Really good tennis player. He used to let it be known to me that he used to be a Section 1 tennis player.
Right.
So whenever we were growing up and we were playing tennis, he would always be like, come on, Jacko, and giving me advice.
Well, I thought the point slam just recently at the Australian Open, I was thinking Warnie actually could have been a threat, because he was quite capable. I had a hit with him one time, and I was like, Jesus, you're pretty capable on the tennis court. He got a lot of predictions right, and I'm gonna say this was my prediction, and then he agreed with me though, which was completely wrong. Yeah. But we're at your joint, and Steve Smith, I think they had him batting 7, and he was a spinner or something.
Oh, yeah, so this would have been when he just started, like 2010, 11, 12.
Yeah, when he was kind of in the team as a bowler. And I said to your dad, look, if they're not... And there was a test match where Smithy didn't bowl, but he batted. And I was like, look, if they're not going to bowl him, I don't think he should be in the team. And your dad went, yeah, that's probably fair. Yeah. I was very wrong, but he agreed with me at the time.
Well, no one could have predicted to have the career that he was going to have, because he came into the Australian side not looking like Dad, but had the bleached hair, bowling leg spin. Everyone thought he's going to be the next Warnie. Yeah. And I saw Steve talk about this, I think, on one of KP's shows, that he thought that was going to be his career, bowling leg spin, getting advice from Shane and staying in contact. But yeah, to see what's happened from not being the next leg spin to arguably being the best batsman.
Yep.
It's like when Alex Carey got told he wasn't going to play AFL, and now he's one of the best wicket keepers ever.
Incredible.
A bit like Dad as well. Told he's never going to play AFL when he was at the St Kilda Reserves. Turned out to be the greatest Australian cricketer.
Yep.
So it's almost like you need that, you're not going to do this, or being told you can't do this, to actually flick something off that will go, nah, I'm going to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
Did you ever have that with radio? Like a prove me wrong moment?
Funnily enough, our very first demo to go on community radio was on a cassette tape. That's how old I am, Jacko. And we handed it in, and they didn't give it. We thought it was really good, Hamish and I and Rye, and we handed it in, and they said, "Oh, look, no, not quite. You're gonna have to work on a few things." And I was like, "What the hell?" I was furious. I'm like, no, we're going to go to Nova, we'll go to Triple R. Who the hell did this community station things? As it turned out, on one side of the cassette, I tested all the microphones. Yeah. Right, I was doing microphones. I was like, yep, great, they're all working. I'll turn over the cassette and we'll record our show. When we handed it to them, they put it in and rewound it on the one we were just testing microphones. So they listened to our first demo thinking we're doing a radio show, but it was just us testing microphones. And so they judged us off the wrong thing.
So they're probably like, you need a bit more storytelling or be a bit more engaging.
They're giving some really basic advice. And I was like, what are they doing? Yeah.
Do you remember when you posted your very first one live to radio, or did your very first live show, what sort of you were feeling waiting to hear back the feedback?
The thing, with radio, generally it felt like Hamish and I were just doing it to each other.
Yeah.
And as soon as you did a phone topic and one person called, you'd go, oh my God, someone's listening. Someone's listening.
Yeah.
So that definitely is the most exciting moment, where you realize their connection is there. Yeah. A live call, they're participating in what you're doing. Haim and I got a big thrill out of that.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about radio as well, with the immediacy. Even like if we had an idea that needed if it was like, Warnie would know the answer to this, you could just call him. And same with like anyone in your phone book, you end up. A good example is Mick Fanning when he punched the shark over in South Africa. It was really scary. We're seeing the news break and we're like, oh my gosh, there's a great white there. He's punched a shark. And we'd met Kelly Slater at the Australian Grand Prix. And I was like, Kelly will be there. Let's just call him. Call live on the radio. Kelly picks up and goes, yep. No, I said, are you happy to chat? So yeah, sure. And then suddenly he broadcast the whole of Australia. I love that about radio and how immediate it is.
Yeah. So there was no specific do's and don'ts, and they let you have the freedom to be like, no, I've got an idea. Let's quickly run with it. Yep. That's awesome.
Yep.
Is there one that you sort of wished you had done that you sort of maybe missed out on, either an interview or a phone call?
Great question. There was one actually. We were slated to interview Barack Obama.
Yeah.
He was coming to Australia, and he wanted to connect more with the youth, and so our show was a good choice for that. And he wanted it to be live. If I remember correctly, they wanted to set it up in Crown, have our studio in Crown, and we would go and do live radio with Barack Obama, which I was so excited about. Yeah. And then the Pakistani floods happened that were devastating, and he rerouted. He didn't come to Australia. I don't think he ever came to Australia as acting president.
Okay.
And instead, Hillary Clinton came shortly after as Secretary of State, and we interviewed her. Yeah. But I would have loved that.
When you were interviewing her, was there any like security? Because they always roll with a lot of security, don't they?
Yeah. Lots of security, and the way they do the sweeps of buildings as well.
Knowing the floor plan, who's this person, why are they here?
It's quite incredible. How detailed they are in making sure that their people are safe. And even just recently at Old Mates, the pub in New York City, which when I think of Old Mates, I just think of your dad, because I was like, oh my God, he would have loved to be a partner in this, and there would have been no better person. Yeah. But America, it's even more serious with the way they take the security of diplomats, etc. Yeah. And Albo was coming in for a beer at Old Mates, and they closed down the whole street.
Really?
So police at both sides, police all the way down, and then his cars all the way up. People came through, swept the whole building, and I think the US take their responsibility of taking care of traveling diplomats really clear, seriously.
Well, just a few things on that. The first one, I know when Tom Brady came, I think it was to Carlton Football Club. I think, was scheduled to do like a 25-minute or a 30-minute like presentation and talk with the Carlton Football Club. But his team, when they rolled through with lots of security, had to know minute by minute every single movement.
Really?
Who he was talking to, who that person is, how long they're going to be there for, their role in the club, minute by minute until they were done. So it must just be like a American thing because of all the stuff that happens in America that they just take every precaution to be as safe as possible.
Yep.
But Old Mates, tell me about Old Mates, because we were talking about it briefly when we caught up at the Stars game. But you're exactly right. Dad would have been the perfect person for Old Mates.
There's a great photo of him doing a bow on the wall there already. We just basically, I love AFL and cricket and then the last Aussie pub closed down in COVID, and you can't watch any of that stuff while you're there and traveling. And so we thought, I better fix this.
Yeah.
And so me and a couple of mates, Eddie Buckingham, Nick Stone, went about trying to find a pub, making an Aussie pub where you could watch these events. And just when I lived there when Hamish and I did our travel show Gap Year, when we lived in New York, I found it really helpful to wander up to an Australian pub and hear some accents and just have a taste of home. So it was a shame that wasn't there for people. So, we did that. And then we thought it would be funny if iconic Australians put the money up for it and owned it. So that's when I gave it a call around and tried to gather a few people up. And like I said, your dad would have been top of the list. But we ended up with Hugh Jackman, another Aussie icon, Ash Barty, Paddy Mills, Pat Cummins, Hamish, Mick Fanning and myself. And
it's so impressive because from the outside looking in, I haven't been there before, but it looks like somewhere that now, when I'm in New York, it's a place I want to visit.
Yeah.
So it's like a destination now.
Yep.
What was probably the hardest thing about it all? Was it actually finding the site?
Yeah, probably finding the site. And we didn't want this particular site, but we loved it, but it was too big for us. We were really worried that we wouldn't be able to fill it, and what if no one comes? And we thought it'd be a bit more of a snuggler. You settle in and watch some sport with beer, and it turned into more of a heaver. But that whole mantra of you never know what's going to happen at Old Mates is really fun, and the fact that traveling Australians do want to have a place because we're becoming more multicultural and the world's becoming smaller with social media and how much we all connect. But there's a level of comfort that we find, I think, in what we grew up with, and we're creatures of habit. So a place that you can go and you know that exactly how you like things, it'll be that way.
And I feel like Americans as well would actually appreciate having a bit of Australian culture in their city. Like I'm sure you have locals that lived in New York, haven't been to Australia yet, but as soon as they walk into Old Mates, they get a feel and a taste for what Australia would be like. When they see the memorabilia, they hear the music. Have you got any Australian beers or drinks over in New York?
Yep. Yeah, so Cooper's been amazing for us. And then it's quite hard to get the beers in with the tariff stuff. So actually having kegs there all the time that will stay is less likely. But now the big brands wanting to send, like Forex, for instance, like they'll air freight kegs in a certain amount, and then we just go, this is on tap until it runs out.
Yeah, okay.
And so we are getting different beers all coming through. Bolt about to come through, and I'd love to see some Melbourne bitter in there at some point in the VB for your dad.
It's so impressive. And how do you go about getting all like your Hugh Jackmans? Because I've seen Dom Dollars perform there as well. How does that happen? Does that happen organically, or do they reach out?
All organically, which was really
so cool.
Yeah. So Dom's team reached out to me, and people just heard what we were trying to achieve and wanted to get behind it, which is really, really great. And it's now that's the thing. Is like with more and more Aussies traveling. If any Aussies doing anything and they've got a profile. I mean, America and New York's a big city, so if they can come and feel comfortable and have fun with us, that's the kind of message.
Yeah. And one thing I've loved as well is seeing like Mick Fanning bring his trophy with the bell and all of these Australian athletes and icons of, Australia have brought their bits of memorabilia to Old Mates. So hopefully this year, I'll cross my fingers, try and bring a trophy over of one of Dad's or one of his bottles of wine to put on the bar.
Guys, Jacko mentioned this the other night. He said, look, would you guys like something from Warne? I was like, oh my gosh, absolutely. So you got to make sure that if you go through, we'll make sure there's a presentation for you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can leave in my capable hands and I'll go deliver it.
I'll have to try and find something that isn't too big because a lot of Dad trophies are huge.
Huge.
They're all play of the years, play of the series, and they're quite big and heavy.
Yeah.
So I'll have to try and find it. Maybe I have to join in on that freight flight, that 4X goal, or when they're sending over their big kegs. But the last thing I'd like to end on, Andy, is I have to say a big thank you, because I have to say thank you for being on Dad's panel for his state memorial. And I'm sure I've messaged you and I've told you before, but yeah, from me to you, nearly 4 years on, just a big thank you for doing that, because for me, my family, and all of Dad's fans, that night was sort of a night for us to really honour and celebrate Dad's career and his life. And to see you go up on there with, I think you were on there with Hamill.
Yep.
Not Russell Coit.
Glenn Robbins.
Glenn Robbins. Yeah. Who are the other two people you were with? I haven't watched in a very long time. Yeah, it's Dimmer. But just to see how you were able to make it very funny and positive and all have things in common with Dad was amazing. So thank you for doing that, Andy.
It was an absolute pleasure. It was an honour. It was pretty special. It was the I remember I got a call from, I can't remember who it was, the day before, and you guys were pretty exhausted, and they said, "Oh, would you mind doing some interviews outside the memorial, outside the MCG, because I think the family just need a bit of time." And I was like, yeah, of course, no problem. And I was keeping it together, kind of, and I walked across and saw the statue. That's where, and just completely lost it, burst into tears. And Tony Armstrong, the reporter and ex-AFL player and presenter, I'd never met him, and he came across to me and gave me a hug, and I was like, "Yep, I'm sorry. Yeah, what are we doing here?" And he's like, "Oh no, I'm not interviewing you. I just thought you needed a hug."
Yeah.
So it was good, but it was really nice to be able to talk to Warnie's close friends, and to be considered one of them was amazing. But I think I was more mediating his closer friends, and what I wanted to do is, every time we caught up with Shane, we were laughing and mucking around. I wanted to make sure that that's what was portrayed on that night. And it was a really special evening, and I couldn't believe how many people, I can believe how many people watched it and came.
Yeah, no, well, you did an amazing job on that night, and you still do amazing things. So, Andy, thank you so much for coming on the Warne's Way podcast. Is there anything you want to sign off with or mention you've got coming up or plug?
Dead Sheep.
The Dead Sheep, are you sure?
All good.
Oh, Andy, mate, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Cheers, buddy.
Really appreciate it. And hopefully I'll be coming with one of Dad's trophies and delivering it to old mate soon.
Perfect.